Chill.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to VFX and Chill. VFX and Chill is a show where we like to break down visual effects from movies and TV shows and then try to put them back together again. You are joining us today on our Season 5 premiere, and I am here, as always, with my good buddy, Seth Worley. Seth, how are you doing today?
Hey, buddy, I missed you.
I was wrong right off the thing.
I missed
you. How you doing? It's so good to see you. I've missed you as well.
I haven't
Goodness gracious.
You
it's so good to be back.
Except for every single day in between the end of the season and this season. You know what? I think we should actually start next break we take. We should institute a rule where we are not allowed to speak to each other or interact in any way.
That sounds like an amazing idea. We are broadcasting for the very first time from our VFX and Chill new YouTube channel. So hopefully, if you've gotten the word from some of our social channels and are watching us there, thank you so much and welcome. If you are watching in a traditional place like the Maxon channel, Maxon Training Team, or the Red Giant page, we would love if you would come join us over here on the VFX and Chill channel.
Hashi, what the hell did that mean?
Our drops this season are now being run by content-aware Phil. He did not have enough to do around here, and so we are asking him to run the board, which means that, Seth, even if you weren't, focusing right when I happen to say something like CC ball action.
CC ball action.
Oh my God, it's happening. What? What the hell? Just kidding.
Well,
I expected it.
Yeah, it means that our drops are automated. We're the most advanced OBS live YouTube live stream in the world.
And how, might you ask?
Have you here?
Where did this automation system come from to be able to do this? Well, we created it.
We created it.
That's right, Frakes. Oh my God, is he here? I think we have a special guest with us. Wait, hang on.
Watch this. Okay. Temporary PNG Michael is going to transform amazingly into Michael at an airport. Michael, it is so good to see you. How are you doing?
What the hell are you doing, Michael?
Pretty good. Voice is a little rough from talking to people all day, every day, but I'm here and now I'm happy.
It's a cool hat.
Look at that. Amazing. I'm just looking over at our VFX and Chill chat and want to welcome a lot of our favorites and classics here. We have Jason Murphy and Michael Pollack, Friggaby Chillweather, Nick Smith, and also...
What? Okay, so it's
and
a little...
Jamie's here.
Jamie?
Jamie!
This is... We're in a new frontier here. The drops don't always work exactly as planned, which is kind of the fun part. We've been working all week and having it running while we're working, and it will just we'll forget that they happen and they'll pop up and surprise us. So there's going to be an element of that.
Both of us say sorry a lot, and so
it's the most used one. It keeps popping up when we forget. It's so good to see all of you in the chat. Gosh, you're talking so quietly and calmly. It's affecting my energy.
I'm too out of practice from my hey everybody voice.
The video we posted a couple weeks ago, the what to expect when you're expecting our YouTube channel.
Oh yes.
I remember when we were recording it, we stopped at the second part of it, and you were like, the thing that happens with us when we're recording tutorials all the time is that we'll start at an energy and we're like, I'm going to be chill this time. And by the end of it, we're like full Andrew Kramer meets like local weatherman energy.
Well, now that all three of us are here, I thought it would be nice to just do a little bit of General Ketchup about what we've been up to in this mid-season break.
Hashi, when you said the General Ketchup, did you suddenly remember we forgot to make the drop for General Ketchup?
Oh no, I remember
Michael,
many times. It was a joke, never quite worth the effort, which is something for this.
I think your last idea was, well, Michael, real quick, you did this. Was that to the General or was that to leave? Oh, the General. Thank you for respecting the uniform. Your last idea, Hashi, I liked, which was General Grievous, but with ketchup, bottles instead of lightsabers.
Yes.
So the ketchup spewing everywhere, which I still want that.
He'd be going by General Ketchup and insist that he was General Ketchup, but it would be so clearly General Grievous. And
Do we? Oh yeah, a T-shirt, like a Heinz T-shirt too. Was gonna be. We're gonna put it. Okay, now I kind of want to spend the whole episode doing that. Is there a reason we need to stay on topic, or could we just?
I honestly don't know why we would need to stay on topic. It's never stopped us before.
Frigby Chillweather says, surely it should be Colonel Mustard instead of General Ketchup.
Yeah, did we touch on that before?
No, I believe that. It was related. We were,
Justin Leduc says, I missed the first 15 minutes, but y'all in a different setup makes it feel very observant and worthy of the #1 fan title.
Well, Justin, if you're just catching up,
is there any other kind of news like anything that fans of the show, fans of Seth Worley might be interested to know in case they are don't have their ear to the ground?
Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and I still don't care. I watched a movie called Thelma. There's a movie called Thelma, which, no joke, everybody, is maybe the greatest film I've ever seen in my life. Find it. Starring June Squibb. It's absolutely wonderful and absolutely hilarious. Go watch that as soon as you can. Frigby. So Frigby had to remind me what Hashi was trying to lead up to, and I completely forgot. Yeah! My little movie got into TIFF.
What?
I forgot to tell you. No, you knew.
And look at that official selection, Toronto International Film Festival.
We're very excited. It's very, very exciting. I'm very, very...
It's so exciting.
I'm grateful for getting to be part of it. It's a huge honor, and I'm just stoked. This is a dream come true in 1,000 different ways, and I'm very grateful to our team who made this movie freaking happen. And I can't wait for everybody to see it. If you happen to go to Toronto, go see it and watch it. If you don't, and your next question is probably, where can I see it? Well,
it's up to Big Hollywood.
Big Hollywood. That's yep. So what else? I made another script over the break that I had a lot of fun with.
Another feature film script.
No, I wish. And so do my reps. They wish that too. But instead, I spent my time doing dumb stuff. So here, real quick, let me just make a new solid. I'll let it be green. Why not? Solid. And I'll make some text that's like text.
I like it. It's coming together.
Thank you. Let's actually make it black, and then let's apply a ramp to it, universe gradient ramp. And I'm going to pick a random preset like my favorite one, which is a duotone. There's a fun one. I made this little script called Colorly. And that is because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm making some, you're working with color palettes, or you want to try out various varieties of color palettes, or what have you. So here, I want to try out a bunch of different colors, but I don't want to go through and edit the individual color parameters for every single item. So this little script called Colorly lets me choose from a variety of color palettes that I can then hit this dice button, and it will shuffle them around. And if I find a color that I like say I like the text color, I'm going to click the lock checkbox, and now that will stay blue while I shuffle around the other colors. Maybe I even go to another, let's say I like I had one and then I accidentally hit it shuffle again, but you get the idea. So then I'll just apply it, and it applies it, and there you go. And I can, it's made for just
so that's
mass
not like an
editing.
Adjustment layer running Colorama. It looks in that window like it's pulling every property from your After Effects layers that have colors on them and making them dynamic.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
And if the layer is solid white or solid black, it will uncheck it to where it won't affect it. It's been actually wildly useful. So that was a fun script that I made over the summer. Hash, what about you?
One thing that I did over the break was I used some trap code form to make some fake drone shows of Shrek and Trogdor, and people really, really liked them. I've actually wanted to do this with trap code for the longest time. People have probably seen these cool drone shows, but I made this joke video to post saying that Disney, meaning the Walt Disney Company's drone show, was hacked to show Shrek.
I love your first batch of comments were people like insisting that, no, it's because Disney brought Shrek, which is maybe the funniest thing I'd ever heard. Not that Disney bought DreamWorks, but Disney bought Shrek. Like, no, we want Shrek.
Yeah,
we're here for the green one.
I went too subtle somehow with my with my TikTok humor, and so then I tried to go one step further with this one.
Trogdor strikes again!
Anyway,
I would go nuts if that actually happened. It's so good.
It's so fun. And honestly, I've been seeing these real drone shows and I keep on thinking, oh man, that would be such an easy effect to do. And it turns out it really is quite an easy effect to do if you're working with trap code form. So that's what I did.
That was very cool. If you want, him to dive in more into that, that's to come. If you really want to know how he did it, that's to come. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're here on our brand new channel, which is at youtube.com/VFX and Chill. Go, for the love of God, and subscribe to it. Michael, how you doing in the airport? Anybody come up and talk to you yet?
But during the break, there was some fun comments in the chat. Justin Liddick says that while the drone shows are kind of cool, they are a little slow, and that they drag on. They drag on importance.
Incredible.
What's funny is we do have a Leduc drop that's supposed to be automated, but the thing does not recognize your name, Justin. Justin Leduc.
Justin Leduc.
Justin Leduc.
See,
we don't know what it thinks we're supposed to pronounce it.
I'll tell you what it thinks we're saying, but I have to go to the non-Michael screen because that's where it exists. But okay, Justin Leduc. I got it to work. Justin Leduc. Wow.
It's a season 5 miracle.
It's a season 5 miracle. Michael, come back. You're back.
Well, I think there are a couple things we could do now. We were talking about General Ketchup, who, mortal enemies of Colonel Mustard.
Mortal enemies. They're not working. They're not working together.
They're not working together. Well, not at first. Don't spoil it.
Excellent. All right.
I mean, they do relish the challenge.
Okay, here's the thing. This one...
Damn it, Michael.
Damn it, Michael. I needed to pick up on puns. I needed to read when you say something terrible and then respond to you.
It would be so easy to program. All you need to do is type in every conceivable pun.
It is funny. If you look at our list, our spreadsheet, it's like... I made a spreadsheet that says, here's all the drops and here's all the phrases that will trigger them. And they're all each of them have one phrase or word, but then Consensual Star Wars is a list of just every possibly raunchy sounding thing you could ever have. It's the funniest list ever.
Amazing.
And we'll touch on it at some point.
Regarding that storyline about General Ketchup and Colonel Mustard, DXYNER from the chat says that they may or may not form an alliance.
Damn it, Michael!
I can still manually trigger them.
Let's jump to the movie of the week.
So here's the deal. Guys, we've talked about this before. A little movie by the name of Twisties came out over the summer, and we want to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Everybody here saw Twisters based on the box office, of course. And we thank you all for supporting movie theaters. The movie, by the way, that has a line, and this is a direct quote. A man is running down the street amidst a tornado and yells, "We got to get everybody into the movie theater." And why that line is not in the trailer, I do not understand. Like, it should be on the poster. It should be everywhere. The poster should just be his face, blown up, like noisy, grainy, because it's not meant to be that huge, yelling, "We got to get everyone into the theater," hyphen this guy, Twisters. There's a couple shots in here that I personally think, like this one especially, knocked my friggin' socks off. I can't get over the shot.
Wow. It looks so good. It looks like every real tornado video I've seen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing like glamorously cinematic about it. It's just, it looks like,
and
filming
it
out there,
for a while. There's just so many layers.
So many of the visual effects shots in this movie didn't look like something cinematic and awesome. It just like, oh, holy crap, it's real tornadoes.
Yeah.
Except for that one where it goes in the factory area. I was like, oh, you're right. But it was a really cool shot, so I don't blame them for doing it. But yeah, most of the shots were like just like this. Like, it looks for all the world like it's...
Yeah, it's so good. Like, Twister and Twisters, they're movies about perhaps the only cool thing about the South, which is we get these big freaking spinning funnels that happen and destroy everything every now and then. And this movie captured it so freaking well. There's another shot in this same sequence that I think is in this trailer. Where is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's in the other one. Hosh, we were talking about it, right? It was the wide shot that's like...
Oh, yeah. I do not remember exactly where in the...
I'm giving away the ghost here, but there's another awesome thing that happens in it. But, oh well, I'll find it. There's a big wide shot that happens that's incredibly cool that's in the same sequence. But there's also a little something we like to call Fire-nado. Oh, before Fire-nado, I just want to mention, I love this sequence in the movie too. Actually, this movie's not just fun. There's like a couple of sequences that I think are just legit Spielberg-y great. Like this sequence in the pool, without spoiling anything. But with spoiling anything, look at this freaking Fire-nado.
Whoa.
So I was thinking, this looks like something we could try to do. And
that
by
totally
try to
looks
do,
like something we could try.
We have tried before to do tornadoes. Tornadoes are kind of our white whale, are they not, Hosh?
They really are, right? So if the past has taught us anything, it's that we will go in confidently, like we can tackle these tornadoes, whatever, and then we'll realize that these tornadoes are actually a force of nature, not meant to be reckoned with. And I don't know. That's what I think. But never stopped us from trying before.
So we've gotta do this. We gotta figure this out. Now,
all right.
First, before we dive too far into it, Darren Frankovitz calls out chicken and waffles as something else good from this out.
Okay.
Justin the Dick says, "Does Glenn Powell ever break the fourth wall by saying, 'Please God Almighty, make me an A-lister'?" And someone is asking, "Does the phrase 'Do you catch my drift?' Is that ever said in the movie?" And then Superstar Mario Plush Films says, "Hello."
Oh, hello, Superstar Mario Plush Films. And Justin,
hello, Darren. Wonderful to have you in the chat. And yes, that does actually sound very delicious. In addition to the tornadoes, food.
Darren
I guess,
always
maybe
sounds delicious. You can't help it.
Can help.
Okay, so here's the deal. Not only do we want to try to make a tornado, which we've tried before, with results, and so we're going to try again this time, but then we also want to try and I want to see a fire tornado. And I think I have to assume the way to do this, and maybe even the way to do the tornado, the plane tornado on the planes, is with pyro. What do you think?
Yeah, you have a lot of control over it in Cinema 4D, especially if you use field forces in connection with it. Because field force is a great way to get, indeed, a great way to get you full control over your pyrosid.
Shall we?
You. You're ready to go.
I am ready to go. I'm here in Cinema 4D. I have a little plane here, and I have a truck.
That's a truck.
I figure that
not a plane.
I'll just grab this plane and this truck, and I'm going to go to the simulation tags and throw a collider tag on them because I'm going to want them to, get to be part of all of this action and adventuring. All I'm going to try, just real quick, is I'm really curious if I just were to create a cylinder. And then on this cylinder, I'm going to have it just slightly above the ground right here. I'm going to go up to my cylinder and say simulation tags, pyro emitter, right there. Now, pyro, we did have a really cool episode on that, but basically it's our really cool fire sim that is integrated into all of these, the physics dynamics in Cinema 4D now. So if I click on the tag itself, there are a bunch of properties here. Fire is made out of a handful of things that we are simulating. There's temperature and there's density of what is being created by the simulation. For a tornado, I actually don't really think that I need it to contribute to the temperature. I just want there to be some density of the object. So if I press play right now, what you should see is this whole cylinder got covered in smoke like that. So check that out here. That is actually kind of sitting there and acting like that. This smoke isn't doing a whole lot all by itself, but because this is a whole new simulation engine, let's go into here and say force, field force. Field force is a pretty cool object right here. You can see it's just this little cage, and there's not a whole lot going on with it, but I'm going to make it kind of zoom around this area. This is actually just a previewer of vector forces available in my simulation scene. And let's go ahead and add a...
So it appears, Tashi, you've been talking for a long time. Should we allow you? Let's allow you to continue. This is just a little automation that's been set up just to protect us.
Thank you.
Continue.
Back to this. Let me actually do the most simple version. Let me just clear this all out for just a second. Really, what I wanted to show is that you could add a cylinder like this, make it a little bit taller, and then say simulation tags, pyro emitter. I'm going to uncheck the temperature, and I'm going to go to simulate forces and add a rotation force. And right when I press play, you'll see that it's a different simulation than before because there is this rotation force that is going to try to push all of the smoke in a little circle like that, which is pretty cool. But instead of in this direction, I actually want this rotation object, which isn't visible or anything, it's just here. I'm rotating it 90 degrees, so if I press play now, what you'll see is that rotation force is giving pyro a cool bit of dynamic spin. So that's fun. Let me make the simulation a little bit longer. Let's try maybe 250 frames worth. And let's take the rotation and we'll make the speed even faster. And we'll tell it to be an aerodynamics wind. Let me just press play again. And now you can see.
Hey.
Look at this wildness.
Oh my God, it's so close. Oh my God, if you just reverse gravity, holy hell.
But yeah, look at this already. Like this is so much more promising than some of the things that we've tried before, which is really cool. Oh I'm going to delete that rotation object and go back to just the cylinder here. And I'm going to try something that I think might be interesting. Like, for example, you could create a helix, one that is oriented like this, and you could say it's maybe, this tall, And the start radius could be smaller, and the end rotation could be higher than it is. So now I've got this helix of a shape. If I combine that with a field force, look at this. I can go to my field force and say that in the object, one of the things I want to be influencing the field is this helix. If I go to the field force object right here, if you zoom in over here, you can see these little dots right here. I'm going to go to the object properties where it says velocity type. I want this to add to the velocity. So if I turn up the amount, you'll start to see these cool little vectors. And you may notice that this little vector field is influenced by the helix that we just drew. So watch this. As I move it through here, you can sort of see those vectors get stronger at the top, and they're less toward the bottom right now. And if you make the field force box, which is really just like to help you preview all these vectors, I can make the box bigger. And then if I go to its display settings, I can go say how many of the vectors do I want to show off. And here, this is a lot, I guess, to see, but you can do any kind of preview to kind of show how things are being affected. Now, I actually don't want the highest wind speed to be at the top. I actually want more wind speed at the bottom and slower at the top. So I'm going to go to Object here, click on my on this helix, and maybe say in its properties here, under maybe remapping. Wait, no, what do I want to do? I kind of want to say for the spline layer here, if I turn down the range and amount, it'll distribute more speed through the whole thing like that. And let me just hide this for a moment so we don't have to see those two shapes, but I'll press play on my pyro, and let's see what happens now. Oh, that's fun.
That's amazing.
That's exciting. One thing that's happening that you'd mentioned, Seth, it's clear that the simulation kind of wants to flow down, like it's a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So if I go to the pyro output object, it's an object in the object menu, but also if you were used to just going to your project settings over here, if you went to your scene settings,
yeah,
there's also a tab in here under simulation called Pyro.
Yeah.
And this object is really just a shortcut to that. But we found that it was easier, since you'll be modifying the properties all the time, it's nice to have it right here. So in this example, the buoyancy is pushing things down. So if I turn the density buoyancy back upward, I think that will make it less heavy. I might be wrong on my direction at first, and then I need to re-guess. Oh wait, am I making it heavier?
Yeah.
You can actually dynamically check this out. Okay.
That's pretty fun. It's
so
still
that
fun to watch.
So this is really fun if you need a cool
rocket blast.
Yeah, look at that. You know what? I think scale-wise, I am wrong on this at the moment, but let's see if it were closer to a real scale. I'll leave the density high for a second to show that you could use Pyro to do a cool simulation like this. Look at all this. It's going to go down here, a little bit that shoots out under the car there.
That is so cool.
We created it.
We created it.
I guess I'll go back to my Pyro output and reverse what I was doing with the density here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Now look at this. Now it's a little bit not enough, and it wants to flow up really high. So I'm going to try to figure out a negative value that is right somewhere around here. That looks kind of cool.
The truck's too big now, obviously. Okay. But
the truck is too big. But
I honestly wonder if you can get it moving quicker, like more rapidly upward. Mm-hmm. You'll smooth out the tornado and be able to make it appear bigger. Like if its movement can get up quicker, but to where there's less of this dissipating, like a wispy smoke around the sides.
That's a good point. There are a handful of things that we can do to fight that.
Well, but the trick is that you don't want it moving too fast because then you lose your scale. It's like you want it to get up there fast, but you want it to move slowly. I don't know how to do that.
That's a good point. Now, right now, I'm kind of using this helix, which is interesting. But if you had just created a field force all by itself, delete this right here, I could click right here and add any number of types of forces, including a radial field.
Oh, what?
A radial field.
Oh, that's smart. Do that.
So if I'm previewing the vectors, look at that. Very similar to what I was doing before. So let's hide that for a second and see what kind of effect this has on it. Right now, it's set just to 42 as the amount. There's still some pretty quick dissipating, and I think that's coming from my pyro object having too much buoyancy. Let's try just negative 15 from the beginning. Now I feel like some of it is hanging out for a little bit. There's a property inside Pyro called the vorticity strength. What's kind of cool about it is if I turn it down, what you'll get is something a lot more like ink in water or something like that. You see that? How flowy and cohesive this version is. Or you can turn it up. Its default value is 5. And right here at level 5, this is the amount of kind of internal breakup that you see from it, which is kind of neat. The other thing that I could do is I could go to the density dissipation amount, and right now that's set at 7%. If I turn this value up, look, it'll eat away a lot of the smoke, and it'll make it dissipate into nothing a little bit faster. So I think that somewhere, as I turn down this amount, I start to get some, cool foggy smoke that is spinning around this.
Does it still feel like it's spinning downward?
Getting too wide. Say that again?
It still feels like it's spinning downward.
It does feel like it's spinning downward. Let me see what could be contributing to that.
You know what? Hey, real quick, we gotta take a break. We'll be right back with more tornadoes after this. Welcome back. You're just tuning in. We're making twisters, making tornadoes.
I kind of want to start fresh because I don't remember what I've messed with. And I just want to start with the simplest of things that I could. Just a cylinder with the pyro tag. So one thing that we didn't show off is that right from the get-go, if you do add this with the default pyro settings, it's creating this really cool fire right here. And what if, just out of curiosity...
Yeah, just out of curiosity, just make that spin.
Yeah, what if we added a little rotation tag? Let's see, which is the... I just need to remember which way to rotate it. Okay, I need to rotate it this way, 90 degrees. Oh, look at that.
Hosh, I'm curious what happens if you spin the emitter. Like if you spin instead of creating a field force, instead just creating the motion.
All right. So Seth, here is what happens if we're rotating the object. Now I do know that the object motion does inform pyro in terms of like, watch this, it's interactive. Like if I take this, look.
Yeah, the rotation doesn't.
I can move it around. So it.
Oh, but it doesn't. There's no motion from velocity. Like there's no flinging it.
Mm-hmm. So I think what we might need more of is I think we do need a force in here to be actually doing it. Now there are a couple of different things that we could try. There's the field force way that we were doing before. Where we're, let's go to the field force and add the radial field back. Let's turn the add to velocity strength higher.
While you're doing that, Hashi, Nick Smith says that they rewatched that Looping Video episode when it was posted the other day, and these special edition episodes are pretty good.
Yes,
and if you want to catch it afterwards, the Looping episode link is in the chat.
I real quick want to
Hooray.
sing Hashi's praises here. So we obviously all of our classic episodes are on the YouTube channel now, and many of them, a lot of them, have special editions that where Hashi has basically taken dead spots. He's taken live episodes and made them feel like we knew what we were doing, and they feel like tight, compact episodes. Many of them are now half as long as they used to be. But I want to call out that looping episode, like Nick did.
Yeah,
it's
a fun short watch, and it's tight.
I hesitate to give it away, but I want to say there's a gag in it that's I love so much, and that if you're paying attention in another episode, they do connect. It's that kind of attention to detail that makes us lunatics and makes me love us. I'm wondering, Hashi, a second ago you had it, like right when you put that field force on, it was doing something really interesting, but the timeline of your project doesn't have enough frames. I want to see what it looks like after some more time has passed, like how it evens out.
All right. If I ran this for 300 frames, let's see. I'm going to turn off my work plane. All right, so it continues to spin. It feels like there's somewhere right around 150 where the upward velocity of the fire is really driving it in an interesting way.
Did you have more smoke earlier or longer life on the smoke earlier when you first applied it?
There was. Let me see. I think the default values for both of these was 7. So let's go back to this. Let's go back to 7.
Now, as you watch this tornado develop, I want to mention that you can keep the fire turned on while you're working on stuff like this, and then after it's cached and everything, you can only use the density channel for your rendering. You don't have to fire. So while you have the fire working to do that upward motion, you don't have to worry about it messing up the render. Because the render, you just say, hey, I just want the density channel. Don't use any info from the temperature channel, and you're good.
Smart.
Very good call. So let me see. If we were to have the... So what would happen if the buoyancy density were higher? Does that...
And what happens if you turn up
make it so the smoke doesn't rise so fast comparatively?
What if you turn up the spin?
All right, let's turn up the spin. Right now we're adding 90 to velocity. Let's turn it all the way up to 200. I mean, this is pretty wild.
What if you make it taller? Maybe we're just working too small.
Let's see. Working too small. Okay, let's try. Go back to the beginning here, and we'll increase the size of this. Why don't we do this? Let me go say, let's add a little person right here so we can just imagine what we're doing. Now, most simulations, like Pyro, for example, is set up to do little simulations at this size. So because I'm blowing this up so much, just for now, I'm going to change my voxel size to 10 and just play this and see kind of what's happening with it.
Smart.
I would recommend never standing this close to a fire tornado. Yeah, so the thing that starts happening is there's some real dissipation because of the of all of the spinning. But I was curious
it's
if
interesting seeing how the patterns. Oh, that's smart. Seeing how the pattern, like, what patterns emerge. It's like friggin', Malcolm chaos theory, like talk, but like how like the patterns and iterations that kind of like how everything kind of settles. I still don't feel like we're seeing the shape that it will settle into. And it's hard because, you don't want to blow your computer
like
out.
that too. So I'm going to add this cylinder that doesn't have a top or bottom to it. I'm going to make it about this big, and it has a collider tag on it. I'm going to click on the cylinder itself, and just for the moment, I'll say, check this X-ray box. In fact, what might be nice is just to hide it altogether. or add a display tag, but I want to see what would happen if
Be containing it.
there is a contain unit, basically. I want to give it some, space to flow out like this, but look at this. It gives us a cooler bottom there and a more interesting top.
Nick Smith wants to know if we could extrude some of the faces on the cylinder so that it's less symmetrical, and then add a rotation to the cylinder, if that would be useful.
So give the cylinder a little bit more definition to begin with. The cylinder right now is still a not baked geometry, so I could add some more height segments to it and a few more rotation segments to it, and then maybe I could throw in a displacer or something like that.
I was just going to say that there's a really cool workflow you can use with some of the capsules in the asset browser to randomly select polygons and then extrude them procedurally. It's quite handy, but the way Hashi's going with it is also quite fun.
All right, I'm going to turn up the global scale of the little
Hash, what if you made a tornado
here?
right now just by deforming a cylinder and rotating it and then applying like a sand texture to it or something?
I mean, honestly, what upsets me about that suggestion, Seth, is that if I were to go into here and let me see if we have like a cotton texture or something like that. Let's just try this.
Hello, I know what you're doing.
Cotton, nylon, any kind of,
Are you making a Wizard of Oz tornado?
I think that I am now.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the original Wizard of Oz used spinning cloth to do the tornado for their visual effects. Speaking of,
Just like
for
God.
the first time in my life, I finally got to see the Wicked stage play. It was playing in Denver while I was here. I skipped dinner one night to go watch it, and it was amazing. I'm very pleased.
It's worth a dinner skip.
Michael, how do you feel about the fact that the movie, from what I understand, is that they're doing two parts and that they're basically doing all the fun stuff in one movie and then all the dark, sad stuff or whatever in the second movie?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to see it and find out.
But you liked it? It was good? I've never seen it. I've only listened to it.
Highly recommend. If next time it's in Nashville, and I want to come
Do
see
it.
I want to see it again. so does my spouse.
Oh my God. We did it.
Okay, it's a little frustrating how good this is already.
I don't like that this is, well, this looks like a stylized tornado
This
we
is
could have done in our
literally
VFX intro.
Let me show you. Look at how simple this geometry is. That's a little quick shortcut, NB. Let me see. I might turn up the number of rotation segments and maybe add some more height segments to know that there's a little bit more geometry actually happening in here within my cylinder.
I think you need to slow
and I'll press
time down.
A again.
Now, what happens if you emit some pyro from that?
That's a very good question.
I still think it's going too slow. I'm too fast. You got to slow it down before you slow the computer down.
Let's say time divided by 4.
Especially because of how wide. Oh, there we go. Because of how wide you have. Like this seems like
this looks like a
EF5
monster.
You know?
Right
Yeah.
now. So now if we grabbed the cylinder and went to it and said simulation tags, pyro emitter, let's just do density, and let's say that my pyro object, I'm just turning up my voxel size so the resolution is a little bit less crazy to begin with. Let's go to my pyro tag, and I'm going to change the thickness down to 2 centimeters so it's not emitting as much.
Twist
and
that.
On the density setting, I'm going to turn down to like 4.
And then you have a twist effector happening, right? That's animated or no?
Right now, it is twisting, but very slowly.
Is it twisting the pyro
Right now
or is it
it's-
twisting the emitter and then the pyro's coming after?
It should be twisting the whole emitter.
Head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
But I don't know if
you
the
could twist.
pyro is having enough time to react to it at this speed.
I don't think the pyro would react
one-
to it. I'm curious if it. What I'm getting at is it happening before or after the emission?
I think that it is happening before the emission.
Yeah, I wonder if it was after the emission.
Let's see, what if I put in this rotation effect? Whoops, at Oops, I have it going the opposite direction right now.
Nick, I would modify that, just a slight adjustment to twist this. I think, in the vein of assimilate this from Star Trek First Contact. Similar and amazing in badassery in terms of words. Something I'm
All right,
doing
let me
right
turn
now.
off Pyro for just a second. So this is how fast it's going in the project here. When I enable Pyro, I'm trying to have add this rotation tag that is trying to move these at a similar speed to it. Let's add some more frames so we can see what happens if I... Oh, you know what I should do is I should go to the density dissipation and turn that up a little bit. So it's more like I just want a little bit. It's like on the surface of
cool.
it. Oops, maybe a little bit more.
Will it slow down if you, like, how high is your polygon count, like on like the fidelity of that cylinder? Like, should you make a?
So right now it's a good question. If I turn down, so right now if I turn down to like 10 polygon, basically 100 polygons, this is sort of what it would do.
Oh, it looks like.
But I can turn this up, which will give me more definition to the shape to make it a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
Right now we're having it's the intersection issue that you're sort of seeing with the two. It is not very pretty. What if I hide the actual cylinder object? This is just the pyro right here.
This is the kind of like thing that I get when I'm doing in particular, where I can't figure out if I need to scale everything up or if I need to pull down all of my like velocities and speeds and things. It's like we're right in that, like I can't figure out and I end up living in this middle ground where I feel like I'm making this thing that is almost good enough looking, but it also feels incredibly small.
I'm going to save and I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to close out and just start a whole new project. I feel like the cylinder is a decent starting point.
Like I'd almost say you'd want to just like render out a bunch of different sizes of pyro, like rotating pyro cylinders, and like cache a whole bunch of them and then bring them in, and bring in whichever one you wanted depending on the shot, and do a bunch of deforming to it to make it do the things you want it to do. Like, so it's not...
That actually sounds like a really nice idea.
Like, I guess you got to decide, what are we making right now? Are we making a big one or a small one?
That's a good point. What if the radius were super small and we're counting on just the dissipation?
I kind of want to try and nail that, like, smaller scale, like iconic tornado that's in the second act of the movie, not the third. I mean.
Oh, one thing that I kept on noticing when I was playing around with this before was that I actually liked the way it looked if I had, say, a plane that was a collider here and a kind of smaller simulation that is just, let's start here. So just this little piece. But look at this. Like if I move this down and like...
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of cool.
And that's just going up and down?
Right, but yeah, we'll go back to what you're saying. Longer cylinder above a plane right here. Okay, so it starts to spread out like that. Do we want to try our container method again?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so just a reminder for that, I'm adding another cylinder, turning off the caps on it, adding a simulation tag collider. And that means that, so look at this. It, as a collider, it interacts with the pyro, which is really cool. So I can...
I have a stupid question.
There are no stupid questions.
All of it.
Han doesn't think so. What happens if you make your cylinder a container, you emit a bunch of pyro from a tiny part at the bottom of the cylinder, just blow air up through it or force upward and be spinning inside. Like what happens if you're basically treating it like it's a particle emitter and then you're just directing all of it up through the tube?
Interesting. Okay. So let's try that. So my invisible cylinder is up here above it. I just have the teeny emitter down here at the bottom. And there are a couple of ways that we could try to have the wind end up here. Let's try this helix pattern because I really kind of want to try getting that to do something. I'm going to create a helix spline. We're going to have it go up and down. We'll have the radius start small and get a little bit wider and go straight up like that. And I'm going to add a lot of angle to it like that. And then we'll go to this field force and we'll also drag the helix in here to add to it. So hopefully what this helix should do is it's supposed to add to the velocity.
Put the helix up above that field list.
Helix first. In fact, I'll uncheck the radial field for a second and just use the helix pattern because earlier we were getting a good like draw upward from the helix pattern. Okay, we're starting to now. So what if we turn this up? If we go to the field force and we say strength is even higher. There we go.
Okay.
Seth.
Okay.
Oh, that was a good idea.
Well, because this is
I'm
what
leaving the
happens. This is
bottom-
what a tornado is doing in real life.
It is. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm keeping the cylinder above the ground because I like that there's a bit of mist that can escape there. Seth.
Okay.
Now, you need to move your field force box up so some of it's not all of it's under the ground.
Actually, should turn on my field force so I can see it again. And I'm just going to move this preview box.
Oh, damn.
Remember this.
Oh, damn.
Field force box is not the actual force. It's just the previewer of the forces themselves. So if I go to settings of the helix inside of it,
it's starting to happen.
if I offset, it's going to. Maybe if the helix had fewer rotations, it makes the spring longer and point upward more. Like some of these vectors point up more.
I think you have a lot of escaping.
I think you're right. So let's go to, let me hide this for just a moment. Okay, here we go. So it's trying to draw it upward through this. We'll move the cylinder down a little bit more so less can escape, and I'll go to the output here. I'm going to turn down the dissipation amount.
Yeah. So it lives longer.
Let's turn down to 2 so it'll last longer.
Okay, so is it sticking to the
Okay,
cylinder?
it was really trying.
happening?
Let me see what happens. Let me see what happens if the cylinder wasn't there at all. If there were no cylinder, I mean, that's super cool. Wait, was that it? Like, oh gosh, there were some moments in that were awesome.
I mean, that's really close. This is looking like the fire tornado in Twisters because it's acting like fire. So if there's a way that we can make this dust, to make this feel dustier and less wispy, I don't know what that solution is, but I know that we're really close here.
We are close.
I mean, it's trying
a really good solution to this would be to use this as an invisible force and just use a bajillion tiny particles. Because remember, particles in Cinema 4D can be affected by viruses.
Oh, what if the height bias was this? So it's drawing it up first
Yeah.
and then starts spinning it more.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, we'll try this. It's going, it's getting created, and then it starts spinning up here. Oop, not quite enough.
No, I think we definitely still need that spin at the bottom.
Just give it more to begin with. Okay, we're getting something interesting here. I'm going to
100%.
hide the helix here.
I think you definitely
one thing
need
that I
that
want
spin
to-
at the
oh,
bottom.
look
Is
at
your
that.
helix still favoring spin at the top?
Yes, it is. Let me turn that back to, I assume 50 is default. Actually, what if
Yeah,
it were
'cause
the
look at
opposite?
that.
What if it were a lot of spin at the bottom and then starts drawing it up? Just because we've got about 20 minutes left, I feel like this is a pretty interesting shape we've got going here. I have a sphere over here that's just sitting calmly, just biding its time, because I was considering going over to the sphere and telling it that it should be allowed to have a pyro fuel tag on it. So we have our tornado going, and I have a fuel source. Now that there's a bit of flammableness in the tornado, if I bring this over, let's see.
There it is.
Oh,
that is
oh
amazing.
boy.
You might have
Whoa,
a
that
few
was
fuel
that
in
was
there.
a tremendous amount of fuel. How about I go to this fuel settings and say that it is, instead of infinite fuel, let's say that it is contingent. The initial contingent will be 4, and the burning rate will be 10. I think that means that as this starts up, if this fuel source came toward the bottom of it, it will ignite for a moment. Okay, that was eaten up too quickly. So the initial contingent needs to be higher.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
She broke my arm! My arm! Let's get out of here! Let's go! Go! Yeah, that's right! You better run! She's our friend and she's crazy!
Welcome back.
We are playing around with a tornado shape. My hopeful goal is to be able to add a fuel source to the bottom of it.
Much like the Fire NATO from Twisters, which, by the way, it looks like it is absolutely emitting from like a spline or something.
Emitting from a spline, eh?
And look at
Oh,
that.
it does. That's a lot like that cool scene in Backdraft where there's that chemical fire that does that cool thing. And if you ever went to Universal, like between 1990 and 2001, you got to see the live demo of that.
Satria, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name, but I totally agree. We should always be playing Humans Being from Van Halen. Went to see Twisters with my old pal, with a bunch of old pals. One of which was my friend Neil Hoppy, who produced a bunch of the Red Giant shorts and makes several appearances in the Red Giant shorts as well. Neil kept turning to me anytime there'd be a song playing in the movie, and he'd be like, "This isn't Van Halen," or "Is this Van Halen?" Because notably, Twisters makes a choice which I actually a smart choice that I totally get, to go all country, because that's location geo appropriate. That said, I did miss Van Halen. There should have been at least one.
Man, that. I mean, that was
What?
not a Fire NATO, but this would be a very good end of days style sim. Look at this.
We're always trying to imitate the Arnold Schwarzenegger film End of Days. Do you remember that
I mean,
came
if you're
out
not,
on
what are you doing with your life?
that came out on June 6th, 1996, I think. It was like 666. No,
it's where the whole
1999.
movie
They turned
was
them
made.
upside down, didn't they?
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. This is a crazy thing to be able to see inside the Cinema 4D viewport.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. If you just spin that a little more,
don't
I
even-
feel like it's...
Yeah. What if? We could turn our radial field back on.
I'm
So
starting
I
to
think
wonder
I
if the trick
unchecked
is just shooting the pyro. Like what you do, the pyro emitter at the bottom, and then you just shoot it upward, cache it, and then twist it in the D form.
Honestly, that might be a really great way to do it. Let's get rid of the fire for now, and we'll just take a look at what this looks like.
Striking the fire.
Let me turn the radial field off, because you do too much. What if I turned the radial field down to a lower amount, though?
This gets so tornado-y at a certain point, and then it starts to kind of fall apart. But it's so close.
It is so close. It's almost
Why do we
there.
have to cut these things so damn close?
It's Glenn close.
Close, then close. So what happened? What's happening here? Is that the end of the helix? Maybe. No.
Or the end of days.
What is happening? Why?
Yeah, why is it getting stuck? Just keep going.
That's
man.
what I want to know. It's trying. I mean, every one of these sims was a really cool thing to happen.
Are we just not blasting it upward fast enough?
See, what I'm worried about is that if it goes up too fast, it starts to look. It kind of falls apart structurally and starts to look too much like smoke to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what if
it's stopping where the helix is?
So what if the helix's height goes higher?
Can you take the helix higher?
Okay, it's trying that. And what if we went to the pyro output and we said,
okay.
Have your buoyancy back. Have your upward smoky lilt back. So now it's definitely trying to mostly move up. And now maybe we could turn the rotation or the helix amount up a little bit. Let's try that. Let's try turning it up.
You're turning amount or the
that might be going up too fast.
What about the speed count? Like the twist count.
Do you want to lessen it or add more to it?
Add more. I want to see what happens if you add more.
Okay, let's see here. So now it's more. It's trying to add a little bit more sideways, and the smoke is doing the upward movement, but it's flinging stuff more sideways.
Okay.
Okay. So, but what if we could? What if?
But what if we could?
My goodness, I know that I can't believe that we are nearly through this first episode of our 5th season.
I know, 8 minutes.
One fun thing about all this is that we could, in the midst of all this, have a basic particle emitter somewhere down here. Look at this. As soon as I add a particle emitter, it starts
looking
like Dorothy sending all of these things right up into it.
Yeah, that's the Dorothy sensors. They censor Dorothy.
Keep in mind that these particles are just following field force, not pyro forces at the moment.
Correct. But one thing that you could be doing with the particle emitter is having it create a bunch of little geometry that are set to interact with the pyro. I feel like I should spend some of the week messing with more of something like this. I know that on our Super Bowl episode, we were going to try to add more dangerous twisters to The Wizard of Oz. Maybe that's where we're going to need to go with this next. But where we go next depends a lot on you all right there. So thank you very much for coming to our new channel for this crazy, exciting episode of Season 5. You will notice on our webpage, our YouTube channel right there, that there is an amazing thing called the suggestion box. You know what? Watch our What to Expect explainer video, and you'll be able to see what cool things you can do. You can submit questions, shots that you want to see us take on, or anything like that. And the more audience participation, the better. The more silly and fun things that we will get to make and do.
Hashi, we got really close today.
We way closer than we have before.
And I think that is something to be commended. The important thing to remember is that the bad boys of VFX are back. We love you all, and we will see you next week right here on the VFX and Chill Channel.
Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.